Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting wabbit.
In a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the
Rabbit Hole Podcast.
Live from underground. And 2 weeks to Halloween. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And here I am with a fucking sinus infection, with a double ear infection. But you know, it's all good because I'm on medication. The medication probably will not be, good for the episode. But I'm not a fruit picker.
What? How the fuck did I... Nobody was accusing you of being a fruit picker.
You're calling me a fruit picker. I'm not a fruit picker.
Why the fuck are you pointing at me?
Hey, listen, do you want to see my rope trick?
No.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for John Wayne Gacy Part 2! My name is Mr. Mako, and you guys, go ahead.
Hey, wait, actually, you wanna know why it was pointing at you? Because John Wayne Gacy like little boys.
Exactly. And that's how we start. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rabbit Hole Podcast. My name is Mr. Mako, like I just said, and these guys, go ahead. Go ahead.
My name's Galvin. What's up, cuties?
Hey, what's up, you guys? My name's Nero.
Hey, my name's Fire.
Why are you so...
Hi, I'm Rustic.
What's that?
What's that? Why are we... Alright. What's that?
Why did you just have the window closed on his fingers and just fucking drops?
When we last left off, we...
Okay, FaZe is really fucking soft, okay? You wanna run that by me again?
FaZe is really fucking soft.
Yeah! He's soft and fluffy.
We'll make him hard! No! Alright, this is...
He's really soft! You're doing a poor job at it, is what that means.
Well, speaking of making things hard...
No, please don't.
This
Oh, God.
is where we left off with John Wayne Gacy, the Killer Clown. When we last left him, we went over his entire story, his entire backstory, from when he was a chubby little child that couldn't do nothing, to kind of the same way, just as a grown adult, but now
Sounds
he's
like FaZe.
killing
money.
people. And he's got money, and he's in the political party for some fucking reason. And when we last left off, he killed his first victim, Timothy McCoy. Is that correct, FaZe?
Yeah, Timothy Jack McCoy, 16 years old.
Oh yeah. So like, as McCoy, McCoy, just a recap. Like McCoy was just trying to fix him breakfast. He was the best prostitute in all of fucking Indiana that day, alright?
Yep.
He was also the 9th body they found. Fun fact, just saying.
The 9th body.
Yep.
But the first victim.
Yep.
As McCoy laid there dying, Gacy claimed that he washed the knife in the bathroom, then went into the kitchen and saw an open carton of eggs and a slab of unsliced bacon on his kitchen table. McCoy had also set the table for two. He walked into Gacy's room to wake him and absent-mindedly carrying the kitchen knife in his hand. Gacy buried McCoy in the crawl space and later covered his grave with a layer of concrete. In an interview several years after his arrest, Gacy said that immediately after killing McCoy, he felt totally drained, yet noted that as he listened to the gurgulations as McCoy lay there gasping for air, that he had an experience, a mind-numbing orgasm, as he stabbed him. And he added, "That's when I realized that death was the ultimate thrill." You're listening to 97.9, your rock and roll station. We are going to be playing...
God.
All right.
Alrighty.
What do you do when you realize that killing someone is what makes you get off?
You die
Tell somebody else.
very quickly.
You get castrated.
You get castrated. Fucking get rid of it. Just go ahead and get rid of them. Goddamn. You don't need them at this point in time.
As soon as that happens, that's the moment where you vow to be.
I mean, hey.
chastised for your life.
Oh, yeah.
Once you get castrated, you just go like, man, that was like 9 million kills in one go. Oh.
That'd be the ultimate orgasm.
God.
You slice your nuts off. That's the ultimate orgasm. You just murdered 9 million potential children. But they weren't alive. So here we go. The second murder comes along on January of 1974. Gacey said the second time he committed murder was around January 1974, and this victim remains to be unidentified. Gacey strangled him, then placed the body in the closet before burial. He later stated that bodily fluids leaked from the victim's mouth and nose, staining his carpet as a result. Gacey regularly stuffed cloths and rags or their own underwear into the mouth of subsequent victims to prevent leakage from reoccurring.
God. Don't you just hate when you kill somebody and it ruins the fuck? Damn,
I just hate the leakage.
Yo!
ShamWow.
ShamWow! That shit.
I'm just imagining this.
Hey, I'm here to give you ShamWow. ShamWow's pretty cool. Here's what I
have
can
you
do.
seen the
Are you tired of
ShamWow
leaks?
guy goes to prison?
Yes.
Are you tired out of leaks out of your murder victims? Well, you ShamWow today.
Why are you going back to a 50s commercial? What the fuck? Are you tired of it?
Are
you tired of your body victims?
Are you tired of your problematic victims staining your carpets after you murder them? Well, have I got the deal for you? You can buy ShamWow today for only $19.99 plus the underwear of the victims.
Yeah.
Underwear not included.
Underwear is not included. But hey, Vince Offer here with ShamWow, and today I'm going to show you how to clean up bodily fluids after you've killed your fresh victim.
Basically.
That high energy.
Can I just say that he sat him in his closet?
Sat him in the closet.
Before burying him? He just put his body in the closet and was like,
It's like, dude, stay there. Here you go.
Could you imagine the smell?
Oh, it gets way worse in a moment.
It's stated that John, he was the fucking party of the whole street, man. He'd invite loads and loads of people to come party at his house, and people would always complain about the smell of his house. So they usually done backyard barbecues and stuff like that. But what was real fun is that they didn't know that some of the barrels were outside in the backyard as well. I think there was 26 on the property, 6 in the river.
I think it says in a moment. 1 second, let me scroll. 27 of his victims were identified, but how many were in the
28 stallions.
Okay, so 4 were in the river.
4 were in the river.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
He's literally counting names.
23 were inside the house.
23 were inside the house.
And I think those were the identified people.
Yeah, there were some of them that were so decomposed you couldn't identify any of them.
Yeah, like the second one. The second one that we just mentioned was they've never identified the body, so it's still it's just a John Doe.
Could you imagine that though? You just had sex with this creepy old guy dressed as a clown.
Oh.
Of course.
And he murders you, and then after he's caught, after he's put on to death, you're still unidentified. Could you imagine? That is a potential.
Years later.
Just poofing.
Yeah, you as a person
essentially just.
You know what's even scarier to me is that some family is wondering where the hell you went, and they probably heard about the story and never fessed up because they don't want to imagine it was you.
Exactly.
Yep.
Ah,
That's just there's just no closure at all.
Yeah.
That's something to think about when you go out on Halloween. No one's going out on Halloween. Just fucking.
It's quarantine. Nobody's going out.
Digital Halloween.
Yo, we could go trick or treating on VR chat, but instead of fucking candy, people just flash us their tits. That's
yeah.
Only one. Like, yes.
Finally.
Yo, that's an idea though.
Wait, Gab was legit like, yes, finally a scary map.
Wait.
Just send somebody into a scary map. Anytime you die, you owe me one flash of the titties.
And like, if anybody doesn't know what we're speaking of, that's actually a throwback to season 1 when Gal stated,
Fuck you! Somebody just sent me titties and I'm scared.
Someone just sent me titties and I'm scared. Guys, the reason
I was so fucking
What episode
tired.
was that? I can't remember.
I can't remember the name of the episode either, but
I was so tired.
8 or
Fuck
9,
you.
something like that.
I'm tempted to go grab beer.
go grab a beer. Don't you have to work?
Yeah.
I'm fine.
But
Do it anyway.
guys, the reason that we're also because again, this episode's gonna be real dark in some spots, so please forgive us if we try to crack dumb jokes in like in between, because this is gonna get bad. All
And
right.
if you're in here, you're expecting it anyway. So
Exactly.
Since you're on part 2, we're assuming you're as desensitized as us.
Exactly.
yes.
Yeah.
So the
Remember,
murder of
no Russian.
John Boltkovitch. You want to go over this one, FaZe?
Sure. So, did you give me this one because the very first name is like the hardest thing on the planet to pronounce?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
I'm an evil
Wait,
little
I-
bastard. You got to know this.
I think I can pronounce it.
Boltkovitch.
Boltkovitch.
No,
That's
not that one. I mean the
Boltkovitch.
first name in the sentence.
Antonucci?
Antonucci?
Antonucci, I'm
And-
assuming.
Wait, how do you
Antonucci? Aunt Jemima?
spell it?
It's ANTONUCCI.
Oh yeah, it's Antonucci.
I'm assuming it's Antonucci.
Antonucci?
When two C's are together, a lot of
Anti-Coochie?
languages-
Anticu-
Okay, anyway. The murder of John Boltkovitch is how I'm going to pronounce it. 1 week after
Boltkovitch.
the attempted assault of Antonucci on July 31st, 1975, which was one of Gacey's employees, so one of the many that he assaulted sexually.
Like-
Eh?
Eh?
I was gonna say, like, remember, like,
Russian.
he made his own company where he went in and like he done like work and stuff because this was the way to get little boys to work for him.
Yep, he hired teens, gave them extra money, and then, well,
Gave him $50 if they sucked his dick.
literal history now.
Gave
but
him
an
$50
18-year-old,
and gave him
from
something
Lombard,
else.
Illinois, John Boltkovitch. I'm going to continue to pronounce it that way. Disappeared. His car was found outside a corner at Sheridan, and Lawrence with his jacket and wallet inside and keys still in the ignition. So he was kidnapped out of his vehicle, which I think is the first time he kidnapped.
Yeah, this was the first one that he kidnapped.
Yeah, first time he kidnapped somebody. A day before his disappearance, Boltkovitch, is it Boltkovitch? I don't know. Boltkovitch.
Just say Blaskovich.
There's no
Boltkovitch
L or
I
A.
don't care.
I just think
Blaskovich.
so
No, it's
many of those,
Strasbucha. Wait, no, wrong one.
Yeah, that's brutal.
had confronted Gacey over 2 weeks because of outstanding back pay. Boltkovich's father, a Yugoslav immigrant, called Gacey, who claimed he was happy to help search for his son. and was sorry that he had run away. When questioned by police, Gacey said that Boltkovitch and 2 of his friends arrived at the house demanding overdue pay. And then after they reached a compromise, they all had left. After 3 following years, Boltkovitch's parents called the police more than 100 times telling them to investigate Gacey, in which they didn't.
Nope.
And that allowed him to kill 25 more people, or 24 more people?
The confirmed is 33, but they don't know how many more that he could have done.
Yeah, they're guessing he killed over 50.
Yeah.
Which is highly possible.
And another big thing about this whole thing is that through this whole investigation, it's amazing to see how long it took back then, because the records weren't nearly as up to date as today.
And no one talked to anybody.
A known sexual predator and pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
He has gone to jail for these things, and when all these kids disappear, it still took them like 6 years before they even tried to investigate him.
Well, see, back then, like, no precinct done anything. You could literally fucking rob a bank in fucking Kentucky, and then if you get down to Tennessee, you are scot-free.
You are good to go because their information didn't travel.
They just leave.
Exactly. Like, that was back, like...
Isn't that how, what were the 2? Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde, that's, they got rid of,
yeah,
a bunch of stuff like that.
After his parents had continued to call and say to investigate him over the next 3 years, before that, how Gacey captured him is after seeing Boltkovitch leave his car, he had waved and got his attention saying, "I want to talk to you."
Hey boy, I want to talk to you.
Invited him into his car and then drove him back home to settle this issue with his overdue wages, which he used to get him to come to his house. At his home, Gacey offered him a drink and then wound up cuffing him behind his back.
Mm-hmm. And like, this is the rope trick. Hey, you want to see a trick?
Gacey later confessed to having sat on the kid's chest for a while before strangling him, and then stowed his body in the garage, which he intended to bury later in the crawl space. But his wife and stepdaughters came home early. So Gacey pulled up a panel of the concrete floor in their garage and stuffed his body underneath and then smashed it down, basically.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? See, Gacey's thing was there was a lot of serial killers that done the killing for the product. There were product killers. They loved the bodies. There were these necrophiliacs were, doing all kinds of stuff to the bodies after the bodies were dead. Gacey just loved the. He wasn't a product killer. He just loved the killing. Exactly. He would love the process, and so
he raped and tortured, then killed them, and then basically just ditched their bodies and threw them underneath the crawl space.
Exactly. Threw them underneath the crawl space. He had some of them under his bed, which again we'll get to. Which I get. Like
that one's nasty.
Yeah, that one's nasty. It's crazy to me to think that it's almost like when you're little, you lost a tooth and you put it underneath the pillow. That's you forget about it and then you wake up the next morning.
All right, my question: how the fuck did we all know it was our fucking parents that took the tooth.
Nah, shit, homie. I thought it was the real fucking tooth fairy.
Yeah,
what?
No,
you fucking telling me that the tooth fairy isn't real?
For anybody out there who still believes in the tooth fairy or Santa Claus or any of that bullshit, hey.
If you believe in that,
Santa Claus is the god of Christmas.
If you're watching this, actually, how the fuck don't you know?
Quickly click off this video.
but seriously, my question is, how the fuck did they take that tooth without waking us up? What the fuck? They use chloroform or some shit?
Kids sleep like freaking bricks.
Like fucking bricks, dude. All you gotta do is just sit there and wait for the head to be off the pillow just right, then This is also giving somebody like, why are you guys scissoring each other again? You done this last episode.
Well, you got a problem?
You're father and son. This is not a Pornhub.
Son bonding.
This is not Pornhub.
No.
The
I
fuck up
couldn't use
kinship.
hands of the pillow.
But the thing that I find absolutely horrifying is that very few murderers of any form, even somebody that kills a couple people, have a family. Gacey was married twice. The first time while he was abusing children, the second time while he was killing children. And so there were bodies being stuffed in this house while he was married and had 2 stepdaughters.
So what's real fun is that he never bothered the girls. Never bothered the girls. All of his victims were all boys. Everybody, you had to have a dick to die by Gacey. If you didn't have a dick,
Imagine.
Gacey would treat you like you were a princess, like you were. Like
4 out of 5, 4 out of 6 here would be in danger.
Yeah, exactly. But there was also one point with his second wife.
Oh no.
He just completely quit having sex with her. He just told her like, "Hey, I'm bisexual. We're not going to have sex anymore," and they called it off.
He actually told her this is the last time. On Mother's Day, he had intercourse with his first wife.
Second wife.
And then or was it his second wife?
It was the second wife.
And then actually just told her, by the way, this is the last time we're sleeping together.
And you know what's real fucked up? You know what's real fucked up? Like, after he done that, she stayed with them for a while. You know what ended up canceling their marriage? Bills.
Yep. Money.
Money.
More money, more problem. Well, actually, more money saves you from a serial killer. Question mark.
I don't know.
Did she leave him for somebody who had more money?
No, she just left because of financial struggles.
She,
and they started arguing about it.
Exactly. They just started arguing about everything. So she that's what caused the.
Imagine you divorce someone because they're like, man, money problem. Like we can't going like this. And fucking couple years later, you find out that he was stuffing dead bodies in your walls and fucking floor.
How would you feel?
Oh well,
puking.
She's changed her name by now.
Oh no! Every single person that had to do with this family, from what I saw and looked up, had immediately changed their name after his first alleged rape. Not even his kills. After his first alleged rape, and then his family afterwards, after he got, convicted for the 30 some odd murders. But I mean, I don't blame them. I would change my name.
You just think of it. Think of it like this. There's two of Gacey's daughters are still out there.
Oh, I think and the funny thing is, I'm pretty sure they all had kids. So I think
Gacey had a son and a daughter.
Yeah, he had a biological son and daughter, and then he had 2 stepdaughters.
Yeah.
And I think both of his kids actually had kids. So I think that his pool.
You could be a descendant of this motherfucker today.
That means that the killer clown could resurface one of these days.
Well, and that's
what the fuck you mean?
Speculation.
The fuck you mean? They're already fucking killer clowns everywhere.
So that still is horrifying to me, is to think that the very first group of clowns that came out for that whole killer clown spooky shows up in front of your car and chases you in the middle of the night. Mm-hmm. One of the very first ones looked almost exactly like this dude's clown.
Like Pogo the Clown. And Pogo the Clown is a scary fucking clown.
So they were saying that they actually were concerned, thinking that it was a copycat who was going to begin a murder spree or had already began a murder spree.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't like one of the thoughts was just to like draw attention to Stephen King's upcoming movie It?
Yeah, and then they said that was a big thing for It. There's also a lot of things saying that Stephen King derived it from this story.
From Pogo the
of
Clown.
Wayne Gacy.
Which is, yeah. I mean,
Which,
there's a
don't
lot
get
of
me wrong, I
similarities
fucking love it. I love both the first one and the second one and the new movies, and I love the old one, the old TV series. God,
Oh
it's
my
just
God.
so much fun.
Like, and if you look at
there's
it-
an orgy in the book.
Yeah.
Yes,
What?
we're not going to
Yeah.
talk about. We're not going to talk about the orgy. Okay, we're not.
We're not talking about
As
this.
Joker said in Epic Rap Battles, how about a little more PG and a lot less 13?
Oh, that's fantastic.
impossible.
Back to the murder spree. All right. In addition to being the year that his business expanded, Gacey freely admitted that 1975 was also the year that he began to increase the frequency of his excursions for sex with young males. He often referred to these jaunts as cruising. Gacey committed most of his murders between 1976 and 1978, and he largely lived alone following his divorce. He later referred to these as his cruising years. See, before his divorce, his wife was, they stopped having sex, but they would still hang out. They went to bars with each other, and he would look over. Listen to this piece of shit. He would look at her and be like, "Look at that guy's ass right there. It's great, isn't it? It's nice and tight.
Boy, he's thick.
It's nice and tight."
Thick-ass boy.
It fucking like
Damn, boy, he's thick.
she would walk in on him in their master bedroom on their bed, and he's just sitting there fucking masturbating to pornography, gay pornography.
Nudes. I've
Could you
never
imagine
understood that.
what was going through her mind through all this bullshit? Like, for real.
Absolute confusion.
Like that, and like, could you, like, how was the fucking bills the only thing that drove you away from John Wayne Gacy is what I want to know.
Good question.
Although Gacy remained gregarious and civic-minded, several neighbors noticed the erratic changes in his behavior after his 1976 divorce. This including seeing him keeping company with young males, hearing his car arrive or depart in the early hours of the morning, seeing lights in his home switch on and off in the early hours. One neighbor later recollected that for several years the sounds of muffled, high-pitched screaming, shouting, and crying had repeatedly wakened her and her son in the early morning hours. They said the sounds emanated from the house adjacent to theirs on Summerdale Avenue.
Can I mention just the fact that they heard this
Repeatedly.
to the point that they woke them up? There's people going missing everywhere. The police aren't looking into this guy, and you hear screamings across the street, and you're like, eh.
You wanna know why?
That's just the kinky house.
Maybe.
I'm just sitting there like, this dude could have been caught.
You wanna know why? Because back here in Illinois, back in this time, the people that he was going missing was the people that are considered less dead to the police. What this means is that they're usually people that's not from Illinois or not from there, not in their immediate circle, not from that have families that's close by. It's nobody was getting reported missing until way later on, and that's what kept him going. Like he could have been stopped so many times in so many different variations, but
like, look at John's case. His family's repeatedly calling them like 100 times. Look into Gacey. My child went missing. He worked for Gacey. He went missing after talking to Gacey. Bruh.
bruh.
The guy also had cash, so he might have like bought them off or something.
You never know.
Had cash? What the fuck? We were just talking about how his wife left him doing bills.
1 month after his divorce was finalized, Gacey abducted and murdered an 18-year-old Daryl Sampson.
On his first kill, he still had cash, is what I mean.
Oh yeah, on the first one, yeah. He was last seen alive in Chicago on April 6th of 1976. Gacey buried him under the dining room, with a section of cloth lodged in his throat. 5 weeks later, on the afternoon of May 14th, 15-year-old Randall Riffett disappeared while walking home from Sin High School. Hours after Gacey abducted Riffett, 14-year-old, this was his doubles night. 14-year-old Samuel Stapleton vanished as he was walking home from his sister's apartment. They were buried together in the crawl space. And investigators believe that both victims were murdered on the same evening. Yes, he said that he had doubles nights where he would go out and he would get one done. He's like, that wasn't enough, and then he would go and get another. Like it's a fucking buffet of boys.
He actually kept them both alive, and then he'd murder them in front of each other.
Ooh, that's terrifying.
So it's like you're sitting there, you're a 14-year-old that got abducted, and you're watching another 14-year-old get abused, murdered, and then you get abused and murdered.
Exactly. And they both got buried in the same spot on top of each other. With cloths down their throat. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
You like anybody that's listening to this or watching this right now, like you're gonna have to take an hour before you go to bed. Like go watch SpongeBob or something after this.
And don't drop the doubloons.
Don't drop the doubloons, exactly. On June 3rd, Gacey killed a 17-year-old Lakeview teenager named Michael Bonin. He disappeared while traveling from Chicago to what? Wait. Anybody who lives here, just letting you know that we love you, but your town's name is weird.
How does it spell?
Waukegan.
I think it's Waukegan.
Waukegan.
Also,
wait, where's it located?
Is
it located near Chicago?
It's Illinois.
Yeah. It's Waukegan.
Can I just say that one of the grossest things to me is that he buried one under his, where he eats.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that went to his house after the date, April 6, 1976, you were eating above a dead body.
Mm-hmm. And you were even some of that were buried in the backyard. People were out there mingling on top of dead bodies.
Yeah. And this dude, one of the reasons he wasn't caught is he sold the most normal white dude appearance possible.
Mm-hmm.
He became the CEO of every company he worked in. He was a really well-loved guy by everyone in the community. It was like he was a very wealthy, middle-aged dude, and you're sitting there just going, no one would have suspected him, even his appearance. You would not have suspected him to have been a serial killer.
But that's just the thing. You never expect, who was that one that was really pretty?
Nobody expects the Spanish.
He was absolutely handsome, and he was an absolute monster.
Yeah, a lot of people, they call them Casanovas, where they're really good-looking dudes or good-looking women. I forget what they call that. But basically, they go around, they actually kill people because they attract people and then basically bait them in to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Widowmakers.
Gacey strangled Bonin with a ligature?
Let me see.
Ligature. It's Ligatur.
Yeah,
ligature. And buried him under the spare bedroom. 10 days later, Gacey murdered a 16-year-old uptown youth named William Carell and buried him in a common grave in the crawl space. So he buried him with others in that same spot. Carell seems to have been the first of 4 victims known to have been murdered between June 13th and August 6th, 1976. 3 were between 16 and 17 years old, and one unidentified murder victim appears to have been an adult. On August 5th, a 16-year-old Minnesota youth named James is last known to have phoned his family. Gacey murdered and buried him in the crawl space beneath the body of a 17-year-old Benziaville, Illinois. I need you to be on this fucking page too, Shred, because you know where this fucking town's name. Youth named Rick Johnson. Rick Johnson, that's a good name.
Johnson.
Who was last seen alive on August 6th. Gacy is thought to have murdered 2 further unidentified males between August and October of 1976, and on October 24th, Gacy abducted and killed teenage friends Kenneth Parker and Michael Marino. The 2 were last seen outside of a restaurant in Clark Street, Chicago. 2 days later, a 19-year-old construction worker, William Bundy, Bundy, that's...
I know.
That's...
It synced in my brain. I'm like, Nunny?
Ted Bundy.
That's the one that's what I was just referring to, like the one that all the chicks thought was really pretty, like he was handsome, like Ted Bundy. He looks like a fucking shoe. But
shoe.
You know what's crazy too? If you look at the unidentified victims, they can't even get their ages.
Oh yeah.
Like the 2 that were killed that they don't know inside August 1976. They have male age 17 to 22 and male age 15 to 24.
Oh yeah,
they're so unidentifiable that they're just like, oh, they're probably within this decade of ages.
Oh yeah, like, which makes me think, William Bundy. Do you think, because I think this was around the same time that Ted Bundy's reign was going on, wasn't it? Do you think this could have been spite? Like a spite kill?
Maybe.
Like that guy introduced himself as William Bundy, and like it kind of triggered something in fucking Gacey or something.
Oh no, I doubt that. I'm assuming he just saw a young boy and was like,
"Young boy, come here."
Like I could just imagine in Bundy's mind, like, oh, so you're the guy who shares your last name is killing all the pretty ladies. No, only the young boy shall die. Wait, what?
More.
Actually, you know what? It is about the same time. It's 1971 to 1976 from what I'm seeing on his victims.
Yo, that's crazy.
So they're almost all at the same time as when all the serial killers
What
are going on.
serial killers and all being around
the 70s?
Controlled destruction.
I have a big theory on that, but that's for a later time.
Lead. Disappearing after informing his family he was attending a party. Bundy died of suffocation. Gacey buried the body beneath his master bedroom. Apparently he had worked for Gacey. Really, I think most of them did. In December of 1976, another PDM employee, 17-year-old Gregory Godzik, disappeared. His girlfriend last saw him outside of her house after he had driven her home following a date. Godzik had worked for PDM for only 3 weeks before he disappeared.
Somebody's got to explain that, by the way. How do all these people die in your company and your company still floats? Not only does it float, it's going great, and they're not looking at any of the employees as the murder subject for the 15 people gone missing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He had informed his family.
All the records would be private for like hiring people and stuff.
Oh yeah, like you could. So, like you're wanting a job today. How good can you suck a dick?
Basically.
Can.
God damn it.
Cloudy with the chance of meatball. Can.
Oh no. All right. He had informed his family that Gacey had him digging ditches and trenches for some kind of drain tiles in his crawl space. So I believe Godzik was actually a co-conspirator. And then after
that's the thing. Imagine you have the victim digging the graves.
Digging his own grave. Digging the other people's graves.
Next to all the other bodies. You don't realize they're there. He has these marked off areas for where you're supposed to dig. And he has the rest of them cemented over because he did cement work. He has them cemented over to where you can't tell. And then he's just having you dig these quote unquote tile set trenches, and then he's actually just going to kill you after abusing you, throw you in there, and then you've now dug all of his graves because he's too lazy to dig his own graves.
That's fucking crazy. Gal, what do you have to say about this? Because you haven't said a fucking word in the last 40 minutes.
So he's not saying shit as well.
He was getting inside the conversation about 5 minutes ago.
Who?
I talked to you, motherfucker.
Oh boy.
Hey.
I think I need to let you know. It's time that the movie theater's closing, sir.
I really don't care about murder.
Hiya,
at
fellas.
all.
We're going to talk about murders today. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Well, Gal, you kind of signed up for it, you know. It's called the rabbit hole for a reason. We're just getting deeper. God damn it!
And your mom.
I'm about to say.
Deeper. But either way, Gacey's car was later found abandoned in Niles, Illinois. His parents and older sister Eugenia contacted Gacey about Gacey's disappearance. Gacey claimed that he had run away from home, having what's that word? Indicated? Oh, having indicated before. Yes. For a minute there, I fucking become illiterate, but
In the what?
Shut up.
Indonesia?
Before his disappearance, that he wished to do so. Gacey also claimed to have received an answering machine message from Gacey shortly after he disappeared. When asked if he could play back the message to Gacey's parents, Gacey said that he had erased it. Isn't that so
Body
convenient?
number 4, by the way.
Yo, I'm getting a selfie. Fuck you.
Of course you're getting a fucking selfie. I mean, what else would you be doing? Hello, baby. All right, so I just done all of 76. FaZe, you want to take all of 77?
Sure. Sorry, I'm scrolling. I was marking off every name off the list as you were going and just going body number 18, body number 15, body number 13, body number 12.
Yo, if you guys want to do this, go find his Wikipedia page and then go back to the beginning of this episode and just sit there and we'll play crossword body count, all right?
Oh God.
That's that just got fucking morbid.
Okay.
I have a Ted Bundy's 15 down.
So 1977. On January 20, 1977, Gacey encountered a 19-year-old acquaintance named John Cizik. I'm assuming is how you pronounce that.
Yeah.
Gacey lured Cizik to his house on the pretext of buying his Plymouth satellite.
Plymouth satellite. It's a fantastic car.
He later confessed to strangling Cizik in his spare bedroom, also claiming that Michael Rossi was asleep in the house the following morning. Gacey then sold the car to Rossi for $300. So he killed somebody in the house and then sold the car to somebody else who was sleeping in the house.
Ain't that fucking crazy?
Damn.
You go over to sell your car, and you end up getting murdered, and your car gets sold to somebody else by the guy who murdered you. What the fuck?
Yo.
In the house.
Yo,
Meaning
that's
that
just smart business.
I'm just imagining that this kid.
I don't want anything to do with Rustic in the future. I'm never selling you anything.
Like Rossi's literally sleeping in the house, wakes up, and dude, murderer, who just killed somebody while you were sleeping in the same house, is like, yeah, you want to buy a car?
I got a car.
I gotta get rid of.
But imagine you actually just got rid of all the evidence because now the car's gone. It's with somebody else.
Yeah.
It's with somebody
And
else.
back then, there was no documentation on bill of sales for a lot of cars. It was just, if you sold it to somebody else, you sold it.
Yep. Isn't that crazy?
But between December 1976 and March 1977, it is known Gacey killed an unidentified adult male. He buried this victim in the crawl space beneath the body of a 20-year-old Michigan native named John Prestige, who had disappeared on March 15th. Shortly before his disappearance, Prestige had mentioned to acquaintances he had obtained work with a local contractor, again hired by John Gacey.
John
Or
Gacey.
not, is it John Gacey? Yeah, John Gacey. Gacey murdered one additional unidentified youth. Notice how so many of these, if they're at the same time, are unidentified. And buried him in the crawl space in the spring of early summer 1977. The exact time of this murder is unknown. On July 5th, though, Gacey killed a 19-year-old from Crystal Lake, Illinois, named Matthew Bowman. Bowman's mother last saw him at a suburban train station and then never saw him again.
Never saw him again.
The following month, Michael Rossi was arrested for stealing gasoline from a service station while driving John Sizek's car. You know, the guy that was murdered in the same house as him. The attendant noted the license plate number, and police traced the car to Gacey's house. When questioned, Gacey told officers that Sizek had sold the car to him in February, saying he needed money to leave town. A check of the VIN number confirmed the car had belonged to Sizek's. The police did not pursue the matter further. Again, although they did inform Zizek's mother that her son had sold his car to Gacey in February.
So he just got out of it again.
You know
he got out of it again.
The police didn't know it was Sizek's car. They went to his house because he had a car with license plates from a different state. And then he's like, oh yeah, it was Sizek's car. You know, the guy that's been, that
missing.
You don't know is missing. Contacts the mother. Oh, the child's missing. Huh. Gacey, do you know anything about that? No? Okay. And they just left. It's like, really?
Yo, really quickly. This is for comic. Galv, you a bitch.
What did I do?
You're not saying anything.
I don't know. I was just told to call you a bitch, but in a nice way.
Fuck you.
By who?
Comic.
Continue.
By the end of
I'm about to say continue because I don't give a shit.
By the end of 1977, it is known that Gacey had murdered 6 more young men. So within just that time, 6 more dudes between ages 16 to 21. The first of these victims was 18-year-old Robert Gilroy, the son of a Chicago police sergeant. You know the police that aren't looking for
that aren't doing anything?
Police.
Yeah.
Traced the car to Gacey's house again when questioned. Oh, wait, sorry, I read the wrong damn thing. The son of the Chicago's police sergeant last seen alive on September 15th. Gilroy lived just 4 blocks down from Gacey. Still, they have not connected the dots, even though they've ran into Gacey 50 times. He was murdered and buried in the crawl space on September 12th. Gacey had flown to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to supervise a remodeling project and did not return to Chicago until September 16th. Because Gacey is known to have been in another state at the time Gilroy was last seen, this is cited to support Gacey's claim of being assisted by one or more accomplices in several homicides. So he was getting people killed while gone. 10 days after Gilroy was seen, 19-year-old former U.S. Marine. This one to me is how you know that Gacey wasn't just like tricking kids. He beat the out of them, and he had the ability to do so.
That was a good censor.
John Maury disappeared after leaving his mother's house to walk to his apartment. Gacey was able to strangle a 19-year-old U.S. Marine.
Well, yeah, because he's big fat.
His body beneath the master bedroom again.
Like John, like here's the thing. Like I'm not making fun of anybody that is overweight or anything, but John Wayne Gacy was big fat. Like he had weight, and if he could get on you, there's no getting you off, no matter how much you fucking press. Because he was like 300 some odd pounds. Like just imagine that all that weight.
Have seen the Marine, like if you've seen the Marine Corps training and stuff, it would take an absurd amount of strength
Mm-hmm.
to overpower one of those dudes. And he overpowered a 19-year-old while being a fat boy and still somehow was able to strangle this Marine.
Because of the rope trick. They all think it's just a trick. They all fall for
Well,
it.
that's the thing. So this one, they didn't use the rope trick. So he said
didn't
he
use
used the rope trick for the younger kids when he was doing all of his, like, 15-year-old murders. These guys are 20.
That's true. That's true.
But on October 17, 21-year-old Minnesota native Russell Nelson disappeared. He was last seen outside a Chicago bar. Nelson was looking for contracting work. Shocker. Gacey murdered him and buried him beneath the guest bedroom. Later then, 4 weeks later, Gacey murdered 16-year-old Kalamazoo. Oh, I like that. Kalamazoo, Michigan teenager Robert Winch, and buried him in the crawl space. On November 18th, 20-year-old father of one, it's horrifying, all these kids that are getting, abused, obviously, is absolutely, horrific in every way. He also murdered a 20-year-old father.
Mm-hmm.
Abused him, buried him inside the house again. Tommy Bowling, after leaving a Chicago bar. 3 weeks after the murder of Tommy Bowling, on December 9th, a 19-year-old U.S. Marine, again, this one named David Talsma, disappeared after informing his mother he was to attend a rock concert in Hammond, Illinois. Gacey strangled, again, another
There's
Marine.
your problem. It's Hammond, Illinois.
Talsma with a ligature and buried him in the crawl space close to the body of John Maury, the other Marine.
So he buried the Marines together. Like he felt like that he was doing a favor.
These are my Marines. Those are my duels. It's like, what? But on December 30th, JC abducted 19-year-old student Robert Donnelly from a Chicago bus stop at gunpoint. So this time he had a gun, which was weird for him, being that he didn't have a gun for the rest of them. Gacey drove him to his house where he raped, tortured, and repeatedly dunked Donnelly's head into a bathtub until he passed out.
Get dunked on.
Gacey taunted him with statements such as, "Aren't we playing fun games tonight?" And Donnelly later testified at Gacey's trial. My whole screen went black. Did I die? Oh, that was scary.
Well,
anyway.
like with this one, this kid was being so tortured that he looked at Gacey and was like, "Why don't you kill me?" And then Gacey was like, "Oh, I'll get to it." But no, this is one of the ones that.
Here's the thing. He ain't dead. Donnelly later testified at Gacey's trial that he was in such pain that he asked Gacey to kill him. Gacey replied, "I'm getting around to it." And after several hours, Gacey
you silly goose, I'm getting around to it.
Gacey drove Donnelly to his workplace and released him, warning him if he complained to the police, they would not believe him. So he instilled to the point where he's like, well, the police aren't going to listen to you. I mean, I'm completely fine. After abusing, half drowning him, resuscitating him, raping him, torturing him, and then basically made him lose all hope in trying to find help.
That's just crazy.
And then let him go.
Yeah. But this is what is like, as we'll see, because we're getting up to the climax on this one.
Oh God.
Because
sorry, I puked a lot.
Wait, I want to point out. For half the fucking episode, Gal has just been going like this.
Yeah, he's just sitting there thinking. I wonder what's going through his mind.
I think what he's actually doing is he's putting his hands like up, and then he's eating something, and then he's grabbing his hands back again.
Gal, we would like to hear what's on your mind. We would appreciate your comments.
What Faye said.
God damn it.
God.
Why you never contribute? It's always food. But
you know what we need to have is a Gal pushed episode where Gal hosts the
Hosts
episode.
the entire episode.
Yes, it's literally, it's only just a fucking mukbang.
Why am I imagining the whole thing about food?
I mean,
It's just a mukbang.
I am bringing new content to our YouTube channel since the podcast is going to Spotify mostly. I am bringing some weird and hard to understand content to the YouTube channel, so more look on that, I guess, as we get closer to that.
What are you doing?
Are you mean like? Do you
Why
mean
do
like
I
the
think
shit that
of
I started? That fucking random ass video I put out?
You remember cooking? Yeah, kinda. But you remember with cooking? But it's weirder.
Cooking with.
You remember cooking with Chris?
Cooking with meth.
Cooking with Chris.
Cooking with meth.
Yes.
So,
Let me
Mako,
get my phone.
do you want to read the 1978 or do you want to do the murder of Robert Peast?
Well, you know what? Yes, fuck it, I'll do it. All right. Donnelly reported the assault, and police questioned Gacey on January 6th of 1978. Gacey admitted to having a slave sex relationship with Donnelly, but insisted everything was consensual, adding that he didn't pay the kid the money he had promised him. The police believed him and filed no charges. See, this is back then that if you said anything to the police that was, oh, don't worry, it was just gay slave sex, the police would just look at it, ew, and they fucking wouldn't touch it.
I wish it's
I
gay.
don't know where that dude's been.
Exactly.
Oh my
Like,
god.
Walk away.
Dead.
the cops were such, like, stereotypical bitches back then. Which I kind of still are now. I mean, look at all the fucking shit. Whatever. There was...
He was
Oh,
in
don't
a
get
cubby
political
hole.
in here.
I'm not touching that.
Oh my god, he touched the booty. He touched the butt.
He touched the butt. But, like cops, there was cops just slipped. Just let Gacey slip through their fingers so many times because of the fact that he just looked at, oh, it's just gay things. And the cops were just like, oh, that's stereotypical. Oh, it's just being gay. It's okay. Like, if Gal can fucking testify. That is not what gay people do.
Yeah.
You don't rape and pillage?
For some reason, I'm just imagining just like finally one policeman just gets whispered to, check the crawl space.
Check the crawl space. The following month, Gacey killed 19-year-old William Kendrick, who disappeared on February 16th after telling his fiancée, who knew Gacey, that he was to spend the evening in a bar. Kindred was the final victim that Gacey buried in his crawl space.
Gary.
On March 21st, Gacey lured 26-year-old Jeffrey Ringnall into his car. Upon entering the car, Gacey chloroformed the young man and drove him to his house in Summerdale, where his arms and head were restrained in a pillory device affixed to the ceiling. Gacey raped and tortured Ringnall with various instruments, including lit candles and whips, and reportedly chloroformed him into unconsciousness. Gacey then drove Ringnall to Chicago's Lincoln Park, where he then dumped the body. Unconscious but alive, he was later informed that the chloroform had permanently damaged his liver. That's another one of them, oh, I'm gonna snag, torture, and go.
And that's the thing is that, like, chloroform really screws with your mind, and if he was repeatedly done it, he would have almost high chance no recollection of the event.
Exactly, which is fucking wild. Ringnall managed to stagger to his girlfriend's apartment. Police were informed of the assault, but did not investigate Gacey. Ringnall was able to recall, though through a phase that night, the Oldsmobile. The Kennedy on the Kennedy Expressway, particular side streets, he and two friends stalked out the Cumberland exit on the expressway. In April, Ringnall saw the Oldsmobile, which he and his friends followed to 8213 West Summerdale. Police obtained an arrest warrant, and Gacey was arrested on July 15th. He faced trial for battery against Ringnall. By 1978, the crawl space had no room for further bodies. Gacey later confessed to police that he considered stowing bodies in his attic initially, but he had been worried about compliances arising from leakage. Therefore, he chose to dispose of his victims off of the I-55 bridge into the Des Plaines River. Gacey stated that he had thrown 5 bodies into the river in 1978. He believed one had landed on the passing barge. On a passing barge? Could you imagine that? Oh my god!
Ah!
Oh god.
Just imagine you're just out in the barge checking the cargo, and all of a sudden, crunch!
Crunch! There's a fucking body. Ah! That's a fucking horror movie. Only 4 bodies were ever found. The first known victim thrown from the I-55 bridge into the Des Plaines River, 20-year-old Timothy Roark. Gacey killed him in mid-June after he had left his Dover Street apartment to purchase cigarettes. Shortly after his disappearance, he had told his roommate that a contractor on the northwest side had offered him a job. On November 4th, Gacey killed 19-year-old Franklin Langdon. His naked body was found in the Des Plaines River. On November 12th,
You just skipped the name of the town.
I did. On November 24th,
Spell it out. Spell it out.
It's the Chanahan.
Chanahan.
Chanahan?
Yes.
Yeah, Chanahan.
Chanahan, Illinois. Whatever.
Chinatown.
Illinois. Yes.
I just see you pause for a moment. I'm like, you can do it. You can do it. On November 12th.
On November 24th, a 20-year-old Elmwood Park, Illinois resident James Marzia disappeared after sharing Thanksgiving dinner with his family. He informed his sister, Anita, that he had been working in the construction industry and was doing all right. He was later seen alive walking in the direction of the Berghaus Square, carrying a suitcase. He was last seen, my bad. Whatever.
If he was later seen after his death, that's concerning.
He was later seen after his death.
A little bit,
Running away in a cellar.
Woo! But in this side, I do believe there was another point in that whole story. I don't know why I'm still doing the accent, but in this whole point, the cops, he was charged with battery. Fucking paid a fine, and he's under probation. That's all he's got. Just slap on the wrist.
Chloroforming, raping somebody, putting them in a pillory, continuing to rape them, continuing to chloroform them, and then dumping them in a river.
Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't dump him in the river.
Hey, that guy's done battery.
He done battery.
battery.
I'm just over here sitting like, huh.
All right, so I'm gonna read the first 2, and then.
The first 2 what?
Well, I'm gonna read I'm gonna read this last paragraph, and then you can begin with the investigation.
Got it.
Okay. On the afternoon of December 11th, 1970, yay, one day before my birthday, Gacey visited Nissen Pharmacy in Des Plaines, Illinois. Yes, whatever. To discuss a potential remodeling deal with the store owner. While he was within earshot of a 15-year-old part-time employee, Robert Price, Gacey mentioned his firm often hired teenage boys at a starting wage of $5 per hour, almost double the pay that Price was earned at the pharmacy. So I'm going to shorten this down just a little bit because we're starting to run out on time. Nero looks like he's about to fucking pass out over here. But
now I'm just like keeping my head low, so I'm still sitting instead of going.
But
me and fucking Rustic are the ones that are like.
I bet Rusty's already out.
Teetering on the edge.
I'm fucking passing out, to be completely honest.
How are you passing out to a story about murder, rape?
Yes.
I don't know.
This is my bedtime story. Continue.
Yo, Rustic is fucking dark.
Tell me about the last murder. I wish to sleep.
Crazy, tell me a bedtime story.
So when Gacey showed saw his eyes upon the teenage Robert Price, that's my man. That's my man. Like he fucking love at first sight for fucking Gacey on this fucking guy, and Gacey just hey, the $5 an hour can help you buy that Jeep that you're wanting to get, because the kid was trying to save it for a Jeep.
Imagine $5 an hour back then. That was actually stupid good pay.
Yep.
Yeah. And can I just say that the ending of this poor final man is very, very sad.
It's very, very sad.
Yeah.
So shortly after Gacey left the pharmacy, Price's mother arrived at the store to drive her son home so the family could celebrate her birthday together. Price asked his mother to wait, adding that some contractor wants to talk to me about a job. He left the store at 9 p.m., promising to return shortly. Price was murdered shortly after 10 p.m. at Gacey's house. Could you imagine that on your mother's birthday? Gacey later stated that at his house, he asked Price whether there was anything anything that he wouldn't do for the right price. To which Price replied that he did not mind working hard. In response, Gacey stated, "Good money could be earned by hustling," although Price was dismissive of this statement. Gacey then duped Price into donning handcuffs before saying, "I'm going to rape you, and you can't do anything about it." As
How do you force somebody into putting on handcuffs?
He was a clown, so he did magic tricks where he would put on handcuffs himself, hiding a key in one of his sleeves, and then he would undo the handcuffs behind his back, and he would say he's going to show them the trick and then get them to put on the handcuffs and then leave them on them.
This is Lord. Price began weeping. He also stated that he placed the tourniquet around Price's neck. The boy was crying scared because, he had that rope against his fucking neck. Gacey admitted to having received a phone call from a business acquaintance as Price lay dying, suffocating on his bedroom floor. He had created this device that he called the
tourniquets?
Tourniquet, yeah.
Tourniquet's an actual assassination device.
Well, yeah, he created his own tourniquet.
Yep.
He just kept twisting and it just kept getting stronger, and there was nothing that you could do. You was handcuffed, you're dead.
You basically laid there, and then every once in a while, they'd just pop in, turn it once more, because you're not dead yet, until your carotid artery would get covered and you would die. And this 15-year-old's just sitting there.
And what's really fun is what's not fun? It's not fun. It's not fun. Shut up. It's not fun.
Oh my god.
What's fun?
It's not fun.
About it?
It's not fun. Okay. It's not fun. All right.
Meanwhile, he goes, "The rest is dark." You know what's
It's
really
not fun.
He made a murder device.
He made a tourniquet. Man, that guy was handy.
FaZe, your turn. Let's begin the investigation because Price was the last and final murder.
Do you want me to just run the first beginning of the investigation, or do you want me towards the end of the investigation? Because there was 5 search warrants.
Well, we're begin the investigation, and then I'm going to take over because I have a shortened down version.
Okay, cool. So beginning in the investigation, when Price failed to return to his mother's birthday party, his family filed a missing persons report with the Des Plaines police. Torf named Gacey as the contractor. Price was most likely left the store to talk to about a job. Lieutenant Joseph Kozensiak, whose son attended Maine West High School, like Price, chose to investigate Gacey further. Having spoken with Price's mother on the morning of December 12th, Kozensiak became convinced Peist had not run away from home. A routine check on Gacey's criminal background revealed that he had an outstanding battery charge against him in Chicago and had served a prison sentence in Iowa for the sodomy of a 15-year-old boy. So some policemen finally put it all together.
Somebody's finally putting everything together.
Kazensiak and two Des Plaines police officers visited Gacey at his home the following evening. Gacey indicated that he had seen two youths working at the pharmacy and that he had asked one of them, who he believed to be Peist, whether there were any remodeling materials behind the store. He was adamant, however, that he did not offer Peist a job, and had only returned to the pharmacy shortly after 8 p.m., as he had left his appointment book at the store. Gacey promised to come to the station later that evening to make a statement confirming this, indicating he was unable to do so that moment as his uncle had just died. When questioned as to how soon he could come back to the police station, he responded, "You guys are very rude. Don't you have any respect for the dead?" At 3:20 a.m.
I don't want to hear it, you piece of shit.
Yeah. Gacey arrived at the following police station covered in mud, claiming he had been involved in a car accident. On returning to the police station later that day, Gacey denied any involvement in Peist's disappearance. Peist's disappearance. Peist I think they did that on accident. And repeated that he had not offered him a job. When asked why he returned to the pharmacy, Gacey reiterated that he had done so in response to a phone call from Torf informing him he had left his appointment book at the store. Detectives had already spoken to Torf, who denied calling Gacey. At the request of detectives, Gacey prepared a written statement detailing his movements on December 11th.
And then here's when shit becomes real. Suspecting Gacey might be holding Peist against his will at his home, Des Plaines police obtained a warrant to search Gacey's house on December the 13th. The search of the Gacey's property revealed several suspicious items, including several police badges and a 6mm Urbanina starter pistol inside of an office drawer, and a syringe of hypnotic needle inside a cabinet in Gacey's bathroom. Investigators also found handcuffs, books on homosexuality, and what is that? Pederasty? Yes.
So 1 second. Homosexuality and pederasty. Oh, freaking hell! I'm not going to be able to.
We're just going to go. 7 pornographic films, capsules of amyl nitrate, and an 18-inch 460mm dildo in Gacey's bedroom.
Okay, well, here's my question. Why did they consider all of that suspicious items? That just sounds like a game. No.
A 39-inch 2x4 with 2 holes drilled onto each ends, bottles of Valium and atropine, and several driver's licenses were found in the northwest bedroom. A blue hooded parka was found atop of a toolbox inside of the laundry room, and underwear too small to fit Gacey was located inside the bathroom closet. In the northwest bedroom, investigators found a Maine West High School ring, but the ring was not Peist's. The ring was a class of 1975 ring engraved with the initials JAS. Investigators also recovered a photo receipt of the Nyssen pharmacy from a trash can alongside a 36-inch section of nylon rope. They actually traced this receipt back, and it was actually a chick who had a crush on poor Robert, and she snuck the receipt into his pocket without him noticing to try to get his attention. So just to make it a little bit sadder on you guys, but
yeah, because it's not sad enough that he literally just sat there suffocating for hours.
Yeah, for real.
Or for an hour. You know.
But during this time, like, it was like, all right, you're under investigation, whatever. We're going to keep a close eye on you. They have investigators. They have surveillance. Gacey tried to invite these surveillance teams into his house. He knew that they were there. And Gacey was just sitting there like, yo, come eat. Come here, we'll talk. We'll see what's going up. And this is when he says this famous line. He looks at one of the investigators and goes, you know, a clown could get away with anything. A clown could get away with murder. And it's despicable. The whole thing is disgusting. Like, he's a piece of shit. That's exactly that's all he is. Is a big fucking piece of shit. Especially
because he left so many hints.
He left so many.
It's not like he was
fucking
sitting
hints.
there like super trying to hide it. It was like at that point he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get caught. I'm just gonna have fun now."
And you know what's real fun? Like, you
said it again.
Shut up. He has he now has a DA. He has a defense attorney now. Okay? And he's getting the defense attorney all ready to go, and he confesses everything to the defense attorney. All right? The defense attorney is writing everything down. The defense attorneys just don't know what's going on just yet, but we're getting there. He is so overwhelmed over everything that's going on. He knows that this is it. So he goes back home later on the evening of December 20th. I think it was December 20th. Yeah, he goes back home on December 22nd, actually, my bad. And he is so overwhelmed over everything that's going on that he sells the rest of some marijuana to this kid, this random 18-year-old. And the surveillance guys, they're still fucking there. They're still watching. He's like, all right, he just sold marijuana. Let's just buck him in because this guy's getting fucking wild. It's hard to keep up with him. So they bring him in, and then they finally get that search warrant that they've been looking for. They go deep into the house. Like, he had a pump because everything under the crawl space was flooded. They had the house just reeked of fucking decomposition, and like under the house in that crawl space, it was just filled to the brim with water. Well, he turned the pump off. So they just like, well, turn the pump on. And as soon as the water drained, you could see fucking an arm. And then the best thing was when one of the investigators turns toward the other ones and goes, charge him! With as loud as he can, and like, this is it. Gacey's done. To assist the officers in their search of the victims buried beneath his house, during his confession, Gacey drew a rough diagram of his basement on a phone message sheet to indicate where the bodies were buried. 26 bodies were unearthed from Gacey's crawl space over the next week. 2 were later unearthed elsewhere on his property.
Can I just mention too? When he drew this diagram, they were looking for one body.
They were looking for one body.
They saw an arm, went, oh, we found the body, get him. And then I bet as it continued to drain, they didn't even know how to respond. How do you respond to that? You're looking for one missing kid and suddenly stumble upon like 30 bodies.
30 fucking bodies, man. And he just kept fucking stacking. That's just... Gacey was brought to trial on February 6th of 1980. Charged with 33 murders. He was tried in the Cook County, Illinois, before Judge...
Cook County, fun place, not fun.
Did they have bad cooks?
Cook County. No, Cook County is a very corrupt county.
Our resident Illinois over here. You should know more about this story since it happened in your fucking state.
Yeah, I mean, we learned about it in history books. We just went over just a very basic. There was a lot of murders in Illinois.
Did you know any of the stuff that we went over? Like, did you know any of?
I mean, well, yeah, I knew some of it. I didn't know the whole story about this man.
But did you learn some things about this man today? Do you feel prouder about your state that you created a monster?
I wasn't born here. Actually, wait.
And that's
what?
next week's episode.
Oh shit, I was. I'm tired.
Before the jury was selected from Rockford, Illinois, because of a significant press coverage in Cook County. At the request of his defense counsel, Gacey spent over 300 hours the year before his trial with doctors at the Menard Correctional Center. He underwent a variety of psychological tests before a panel of physicians to determine whether he was mentally competent to stand trial. Gacey attempted to convince the doctors that he suffered from multiple personality disorder. He claimed to have 4 personalities: the workaholic, a civic-minded contractor, the clown, and the active politician. And a policeman called Jack Hanley. Like, he always referred that all of his killings were done by Bad Jack, which is just for his reason of insanity. To charges against him, persisting Gacey as Jekyll and Hyde Jekyll and Hyde character, the defense produced several physicians experts who had examined Gacey the previous year to testify as to their findings. 3 physicians experts at Gacey's trial testified they found him paranoid, schizophrenic, with a multiple personality disorder. However, he was fit to stand trial. And so with that, the trial began. Basically, they went through this whole spill. And one of the best moments to ever happen in any trial. This was this moment right here, the moment that convicted John Wayne Gacy, was the fact that they brought in the fucking door that led into the crawl space of his basement, and the what's the accused party? What's the accuser's name? Prosecution.
Yeah,
the prosecution
doing it.
also brought in all the pictures of the people that they have found that were dead and missing. It's like, and he looked, and for their final statement, he looked at the jury and was like, "Listen, you tell me what you would do if all of you were to disappear behind that." And he threw all the fucking pictures at the door to the crawl space inside the courtroom. Which is fucking insane. FaZe, you're talking here in VR chat, but I do not hear you on Discord.
Oh, I'm not talking. It was just the wind.
Oh, it's the wind.
It was just the wind.
Just the wind.
I'm just imagining like this.
Hey, Gal, everyone on camera is getting nothing but panty shot.
Prosecuting.
Oh,
poggers.
This
I always have to get up.
I'm just imagining this prosecuting, like, dudes just comes in.
Fuck yourself.
Holds the door up there, grabs a stack of these pictures, hucks them at the door, and he's like, imagine like disappearing behind that. If I was the defendant, which for one, I don't know what lawyer would try and defend him after hearing him confess that. I would have like hightailed the other way.
Like, he wrote a book. It's called Defending a Monster.
Yeah, and it's as soon as you see the door there and all the pictures get thrown against it, I would literally just like sit there, look at it, look at the dude, look at it, look at the dude, and just leave.
You're going to die.
As soon as you see that, you're like, yeah, I'm not getting paid today.
You're just like, what? Yeah, you're not making it. Sorry, buddy.
You're not making it.
Well,
Sorry,
not
dude.
Sorry. Not sorry at all.
That bitch is fucking. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Every bit of it is. Like, it didn't take it didn't take long at all for the jury to find a verdict. Like, it took them like an hour and a half to convict him.
Normally trials go on like for weeks. This was like an hour and a half, and like, yeah, kill him.
Yeah, kill him.
Yeah, kill him.
And so, being sentenced, Gacey was transferred to the Menard Correctional Center in Chester, Illinois, where he remained incarcerated on death row for 14 years. Before to his trial, Gacey initiated contact with WLS-TV journalist Russ Erring, to whom he granted numerous interviews between 1979 and 1981. Erring later collaborated with author Tim Cahill to publish a book, Buried Dreams. Later, the information Gacey divulged to Erring would prove instrumental in establishing the identity of his first victim. On February 15th of 1983, Henry Burbson, a fellow death row inmate known as the I-57 killer, stabbed Gacey in the upper arm with a sharpened wire. At the time of the attack, Gacey was participating in a voluntary work program. A second death row inmate injured in the attack, William Jones, received a superficial stab wound to the head. Both received treatment in the prison hospital for the wounds. Gacey tried to do appeals, but none of the appeals worked. And then finally, on the morning of May 9th, 1994, Gacey was transferred from the Menard Correctional Center to the Stateville Correctional Center in Crest Hill, Illinois, to be executed. That afternoon, he was allowed a private picnic. Bye, gal. Private picnic on the prison grounds with his family for his last meal. Gacey ordered a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, a dozen fried shrimp, French fries, fresh strawberries, and a Diet Coke. That evening, he observed a prayer with a Catholic priest. Of course he was Catholic.
I was just about to make a joke on that, but I didn't get the chance.
Of course he was Catholic.
Oh,
boy.
That was the only priest that was like, I can sympathize.
I can sympathize.
I can sympathize.
Before the execution began, the chemicals used to affect...
Are you Catholic, my child? Oh, now I am.
No, I am.
You're 33 in. I'm only on 5. God damn.
God damn.
Before the execution began, the chemicals used, the effect of the execution solidified unexpectedly, clogging the IV tube used to administrate the chemicals into Gacey's arm, complicating the procedure, which means it also done that halfway inside of him too, because he was in pain on this one.
Yeah, oh no, yeah.
Oh,
There's
good.
a lot of speculations they did it on purpose.
The blinds were reopened and the execution
blame 'em.
resumed. The entire procedure took 18 minutes.
Normally takes like 5.
Yeah, for real. That had corrected execution procedures been followed, the complications would never have been occurred. This error apparently led to the Illinois adopting an alternative method of lethal injection. On this subject, one prosecutor at Gacey's trial, William Knuckle, said that he got a much easier death than any of his victims. According to published reports, Gacey was diagnosed as a psychopath who did not express any remorse for his crimes. His final statement to his lawyer before his execution was that killing him would not compensate for the loss of the others, and that the state was murdering him. His final spoken words were reported to be, "Kiss my ass." And then...
Damn, that's a way to go.
But you know, one crazy thing to
Kiss
me
my
about this
ass.
whole situation is he's like under prosecution, he's like getting investigated, etc. He draws a full map, like, hey, by the way, here's all the bodies that I hid. And then he's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm insane. The 4 personalities that I have." Oh my god. The 4 personalities that I.
Mako, he's a child.
All I see is half of Mako's body.
Mako,
going,
this isn't fucking Halo.
John Wayne Mako.
John Wayne Mako.
Halo.
But basically, like, he drew it out, said he's insane, and then while he's on death row for killing 33 people, no chance he's gonna ever leave the jail. He's trying to appeal. It's like, what do you think you're going
What do
to
you think?
appeal?
You're not
faster
appeal.
kill?
You're not appealing anything. You're not doing nothing, dude. Like. But with that being said, that's the story of John Wayne Gacy.
That's awful.
It's like even the other death row inmates were trying to kill him while on death row.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, man, you are screwed up.
Rustic!
The other death row mates are trying to
Rustic!
kill him.
Cutie!
I'll wake him up in a second, don't you worry. Oh, he's about to get a rude awakening.
Bring your sister in.
Listen,
Someone
if we
hand me the tourniquet.
All right, that got dark really quick. So, all right. So, like, that's John Wayne Gacy. I hope everyone feels informed. I hope everyone feels terrified.
I feel very uncomfy now.
Same here.
That's the whole thing about it, man. We're 2 weeks away from Halloween.
No, we're not.
And will you shut up?
2 weeks. Wait.
Yeah,
it's not even October yet.
God damn it, Face! You ruined my entire beginning of this episode.
We're in fucking August. What the fuck do you mean?
Will you shut the fuck up?
Wait, what?
When this episode releases, it will be October 16th.
Except, yeah, you said it was August, Shreddy. What do you mean?
Nero, I feel like that
August?
right now.
Wait.
On the Discord.
I was like, wait, what? Actually, the worst part is I opened up a calendar like, is it?
God damn it.
It's basically October.
Gal, what is this? What is this
If you
video?
go to Costco,
All right. I don't want to know what that video is. But with that being said, guys, that's what we're going to leave you with on this. So that's
right now.
John Wayne Gacy Part 2. I think that's our first 2-parter series that we've ever done on the whole podcast.
I almost wanted to say that serial killer that, or not serial killer, basically mass murderer.
Oh, the very first mass
Howard
murder.
Unruh?
Howard?
Yeah, he was
Howard.
I'm so happy you remembered the name.
Of course I fucking. How do you forget a name like Howard Unruh?
Unruh.
First of all, Howard. Todd Howard. Unruh.
You know what Mako sounds like a little fucking, like a legit mother, like...
Listen, we have them fucking mutes over here on this log, okay? They finally say something when I start acting out, alright?
I've been talking more than Rustic and Shrek together.
Rustic, listen, this is the first episode that Rustic fucking passed out.
Motherfucker's up.
Rustic's awake.
I think what woke him up. What woke him up was the.
Screamed in his ears.
Hey, you know what's good? Is now Rustic can actually watch the podcast and be like, oh, I missed that.
Oh, I missed that. But that's gonna be the end of this one, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you all next week. But until then, remember to always hell yourself.
Arrivederci.
Bye, kitty. See you next time.
Follow us on Twitch. All of our names: FaZe the Fox Bean, Rustic, Shredderfire, me, Nero, Galvanic.
What? I'm right here.
There you are.
No, I'm gone.
Bye.
Follow us on that. But until we see each other next time, yeah, whatever. Bye.
Yo, fucking dick.
Yo, FaZe, are you ready to tell Rustic what happened when he was asleep?
He teabagged you.
I didn't. One of the members here defiled you while you were asleep.
Marco.
Yeah, what the fuck?
It was him.
I know his
But why me?
I'm done.
I said I was gonna give you a rude awakening because